Hi, Tariq. Yes, I expected all these questions will follow after. Well, not all of them. I did expect some questions will follow. Now, because it's a lot, I decided I'll do this quick video. I'm not sure how to edit this video, the thing I'm using to record myself. I don't know if I can edit it. So what I'll do is after I talk, I'll listen to it again and just put the scripture references at the bottom, if there's any, obviously. And this is not a study. I'm just answering your question from the top of my head. And also I'm answering this question based off my understanding of scriptures. Okay, so I'm not saying they're written in stone, and I'm not saying this is what God is saying. I'm saying this is what I'm saying based on what I know and what I understand. Okay, so we're just having a conversation here. So if I say something that you feel it's not correct, or maybe you have evidence of it being different, you're very welcome to correct me and show me scriptures, obviously, in terms of what you are saying. All right, so I'm looking at this question. The first one you asked me, what is the light that is there before the sun? Is that just a light source? Or is it just a light source? I had thought that since Jesus light all that come into the earth, John 1:9, it is a representation of him. Also, I considered Revelation 21:23 on how the glory of God gave, sorry, something in my mouth, how the glory of God gives light, its light, and there is no need for sun and the moon. That's a very good question, and I actually discussed that with Dexter afterward, because he did ask me the same question. What is that light then that was there? Was it not the glory of God? Because I know the scripture in Revelation where it talks about there will be no need for the sun, because the glory of God will be the light, in the time, at that time. Now, this is what I say to him, and I'm saying to you based on my personal understanding of scriptures. In the beginning, when God created, when he was busy creating, and he said, let there be light, I don't believe God is light, like you say. God is light himself. Jesus is light and God is light, and there is that glory of God that was called the Shekinah glory of God, on the mercy seat with the old covenant, in between the two cherubim, there was that light of God, that glorious light of God. Obviously, I believe that God carries that with him everywhere where he is. Right now where I'm sitting, or where we are, God is with us all the time, but we're not seeing that light in the natural. Okay, so we have to be aware of the two realms that we're talking about, the spirit realm and the natural realm. Now, God is a spirit, is in the spirit realm, and in the book of Hebrew it says that we understand by faith that everything that we can see, that everything that is created came from the invisible. It was made by what is not seen. So what it means, that everything has its origin in terms of creation from the spirit realm before it's manifested in the natural. Okay, so when in the beginning, in Genesis, when God was created, when he started creating and he said, let there be light, I can't even remember if it was the first thing he said. He made the earth and everything, and there was void and darkness was around it, which was one of your questions. God is light, but he's creating a physical world, okay? And it's not just the earth, obviously, it's the whole universe or multiverse, whatever you want to call it, everything that is visible to the naked eye, to the physical eye, okay? So he was busy creating all those things. Now, God being light, you would think that God's light is illuminating all that space and all, and it probably is illuminating everything, but the thing here is that is in the spirit realm, and is creating a physical realm. Okay, so any human being, and there was none at that time, but if there were any human being at that time, they wouldn't have seen anything, because obviously they wouldn't have seen God's glory, the Shekinah glory of God, because it's in the spirit realm. Now, it doesn't mean it's not there. Okay, and I'm going to tell you two stories in the Bible, not two stories, well, yeah, two stories in the Bible to reflect on that. I don't know how long I can make these videos. I know YouTube allows me 15 minutes, so I'm just going to go close to 15 minutes and then stop, so that if I can't post it on Discord, I can put it on YouTube and then put the link in Discord. Okay, all right, so the first story is with Moses. when Moses with the burning bush, it says he saw fire, he saw something burning, but the tree was not burning, but the fire is there, and that was God, and God spoke to him. So Moses was able to see that fire that was not burning the tree. So obviously it was not a natural fire. If it was a natural fire, it would have burned that bush or tree. Okay, so I want to believe that God allowed Moses' spiritual eyes to be open at that time and to be able to see the flame. It's just like when what's his name now, Paul, when he had that encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus. Now it is written that they saw the light, all of them, but they couldn't hear what Jesus was saying. Only Paul heard what Jesus was saying, but that group of people, they all saw that light. Okay, now remember, God is always with us, but we don't always see the light. And the best one I like is in the Mount of Transfiguration in Gethsemane, when Jesus was praying before he got arrested. He asked Peter, John, and James to go, seclude themselves and pray with him, because he knew what was going to happen to him after he gets arrested and all the suffering. So he was praying to be strengthened in his flesh, because he was weak in the flesh. He even asked God if there was another way to save humanity without him having to go to the cross. But nevertheless, your will be done, he said to God. But it's recorded that he prayed so hard that he was sweating even blood. But Peter and his companion, they fell asleep twice. Jesus had to wake them up like, come on guys, I ask you to pray for me and you falling asleep. But then it says that Elijah and Moses appeared to Jesus and they were talking with Jesus. Now, Elijah and Moses were already dead at that time, okay? But Peter and his companion, they were able to see Elijah and Moses and Jesus transfigured. Basically, the glory of God, the light, that glory was shining through Jesus, and they were able to see it. Now, question, why were they able to see it at that time and not at any other time when they were with Jesus? Because Jesus is God. God was always with Jesus. Why were they not able to see that glorious light emanating from Jesus all this other time? Well, for the very same reason that at that time they could see Elijah and Moses, because those dudes were dead already long ago before that moment happened. But what was dead? Okay, Elijah was taken up in heaven. Moses was not buried by human being. It says God buried him, but we know they were all gone. So basically, in the natural, physically, Moses and Elijah were dead, but spiritually speaking, they were not dead. That's why they were able to be there and talk with Jesus. They were in the spirit realm, and God allowed Peter, James, and John to be able to see in the spirit realm, and because of that, they were able to see the glory of God through Jesus. So it's always there, but that's the very same reason why the demons can recognize who Jesus was. I mean, demons are not godly spiritual, like divinely spiritual. They're evil. They rebelled against God, meaning they do not submit to God. But how is it that they were able to see the glory of God through Jesus? Because they're spirit being. You see, now we are also spirit being, but we tend to be very carnal. We try to limit us. We tend to limit ourselves with the natural thing that we can see, but we are able to see in the spirit realm when God allows it. So the glory of God, the light of God is always there, but in the natural, with your natural eyes, you cannot see that if God does not allow it. There's a story in the Old Testament with Elisha and Gehazi, who was his servant. I think they were faced with the enemy's army, and Gehazi was trembling and afraid because it was just him and Elisha. And Elisha said, no, we're not alone. There's an army with us here. But Gehazi could not see that, and he was trembling. So Elisha asked God to open his spiritual eyes, and then he saw the chariots and the horses and everything, and he realized that, yeah, they were here. But those chariots and angels and all, they were always there. Gehazi was not able to see them because he could not see with the spiritual eyes. It's only when God allows you to see the things then you can see. So coming back to Genesis, God is light, and he carries his glory with him, that bright light with him. But I believe because he was creating a physical world to be seen by physical people, they could not see the light. But that doesn't mean God could not see the light. it does not mean that God could not see his own light or the light that he created, because I personally don't believe that when God said let there be light, he was not talking about his own glorious light. I think he was talking about the light he was creating for the physical realm. And it was created, remember, everything that is in the natural has its origin first in the spirit realm. So the light was created in the spirit realm where God could see it, even though in the natural it could not be seen. So God could carry on his work, and he was able to determine that this is the first day and then tomorrow is the second day, even though in the natural it was not manifested yet in the form of the sun. And that leads me to your other question that says, so essentially, if all the materials were created bara from Genesis 1:1, that means everything was created, everything in heaven and on earth from that verse. Yes, I agree with that, including all the creation that followed it. Yes, it was just a matter of it needing to be created, Asa, right? So yes, I totally agree with that, because when you think about Genesis 1:26, where he says, let us make man in our image, and you read the scripture and it says he created them male and female, he created them. But now in Genesis 2, I think verse 7, he forms the body of man, Adam, when he already created him in Genesis 1:26. And the body only came after, but God already knew Adam and all of us when he created all of us. But it's interesting that he even says he created them male and female. When he made Adam, he didn't make Eve physically at that time. Adam had time to dwell on earth, to name the animals, and to realize that there was nobody like him and that he was alone. And then God put him to sleep and took his rib, one of the rib up, and then made the woman. But God already saw from the start, because he said he made them male and female. See, so where is God seeing these things? In the spirit realm. And nobody was there. I mean, Genesis was written by Moses long after creation. So Moses was writing what God revealed to him, how creation happened. And God is telling him the story based on God's perspective as a spirit being. And you can't say it's unfair, because he created us to be like him. Because of the fall, we have kind of lost contact or awareness of our spiritual essence, our spiritual faculties, and things like that. But that doesn't mean it's not there. It's always been there. What we're doing now is going through an awakening, of what we already have inside of us. So just like Jesus, now we are born again, we have the Spirit of God inside of us. We have that glory inside of us that is actually emanating from you as well. The spirit realm can see it, creation can see it, but human beings who are very carnal, they can't see it. Now, we born again Christian, we may not see it, but we do sense it sometimes. You can sense when someone is evil, and you can sense when something is godly, So the things are there in the spirit realm, even though they are not manifested yet in the natural. And I think when God says he saw that and it was good, that was he's seeing it in the spirit realm, which is the reality of things, really. And in terms of Satan, because you asked, so not just the material for the sun, moon, but for everything which was made. Yes, that's the same question. Also, what is this darkness? What's the time? What is it, darkness that existed before the light? And is this where Satan dwelt after he was cast out? Yeah, because you don't see that from the Bible directly, but there are people who different school of thought in terms of Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 and Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, because it starts by saying that I'm looking at the time, I'm wondering maybe I should stop this and make a second video just in case I cannot send a big video. All right.